Today I have something very, very special. A 3-video saga about lint-licking Lucy, possibly one of the most toxic wives we've ever covered, and all 3 videos are coming out today. Maybe I'm being paranoid here, but my wife seems to like my brother. Yeah, I know, this is a wild accusation. If my mom knew I would even suspect my wife of this, she would whack me over the head. Lucy's loved by my whole family and by myself, but some things just make me feel as if this life that we have is not what she wants. I did not feel good suspecting her of that, as we had the perfect marriage for so long. I've never been a person who asks too many questions about matters that don't really concern me. I hate fights, and usually I just let most stuff go. That was probably what attracted the headstrong Lucy to me. She was of the youth leaders at church, and the person who actually made me start going regularly. I met her one Easter when I was 23 years of age. I'd come home for the weekend, and my mother asked me to go to church with her. It's been such a long time, and life's gotten away with me, and I was not really that interested. But in my mother's house, we go to church every Sunday, so she dragged me out of bed and along. I saw her in front when I first entered the church, and there was just something that drew me in. It was not that she was particularly beautiful, but just was so simple. She carried herself with dignity and delegated tasks of the younger ones. I don't know what attracted me to her, but when we talked later on at church, I just knew. I quickly realized that she was a non-nonsense woman who had a lot going on for her and was dedicated to helping others. We started off being friends, and she invited me to several youth events. When I could join her, I did. As I grew to know her, I saw that she was also very intelligent and funny. I was happy when I was with her. I liked the way she would debate and lead. At the time, she was working as a bookkeeper. She helped me get my finances in order, something my mother had been trying but failing to achieve for years. Lucy hated anything that was disorganized and liked her list and her church. My mom caught on before I did that we appeared to be a match. I was a bachelor, a workaholic without a wife. Seemingly no plans to settle down or stand by building my life. But when Lucy came into my life, she introduced my idea of planning for the future. My family was happy to have her around, and I kid you not, she was the first girlfriend that my mother liked. Mainly because they could just tag team me and get to come to church and be responsible. She spent a lot of time at my house, even when I was away at work, and my mom would tell me how she was taking care of them. She would ask me every single time she called when I was going to commit myself to her. But the thing was that I wasn't sure, and sometimes I felt like I was wasting her time. I did not know what I wanted. My focus was on my career. That was what I lived and breathed. Even now, it's difficult to relax even though I'm supposed to be on my month-long leave. Lucy and I dated for a year, and everyone in town knew that we were a couple. My parents and my brother, Ass, kept on planting the idea of marriage in my head. What made me finally propose was when I heard through a friend that she might have been speaking to someone else. This someone else appeared to be a childhood friend that she said was her male best friend. I loved Lucy, but I was not sure if I wanted to be with her. I figured that since we made each other happy, since she treated my parents with respect, we could be good. So, I proposed, and we were married within a year. I know how I said I'm a workaholic. Well, that work is more about doing something, making something in this world. I am but a simple builder, painter, and carpenter, anything that's required of me. Over the years, I've worked for multiple companies, and I've worked alone as well. I saved money ever since I started working, and that was the money that we used for our wedding, to buy a simple 2-bedroom house just a few miles away from my family. Lucy was still working as a bookkeeper when we got married, but after a couple of months, she quit and decided to be a stay-at-home wife. Before then, we were leading a very comfortable life, paying bills, but changed the dynamic of the relationship. This was when I started to see some qualities in her that I did not like. Before we got married, Lucy was energetic, kind, hardworking. But then she quit her job, saying that all her married friends didn't work. Most women in our church did not have a job. So it was best for her to stay at home and take care of the house and soon our children. My parents supported her in this, telling me at least get a better job. It had been a constant fight at home that I choose to do simple labor. But for me, it was always about the reward, standing in front of something that I've built with my own two hands. Some people measure their success in how much money they earn. Mine is measured by doing what I love, while my body's still willing. I'm able to pay for the bills and live a simple life. Before she came along, I was just living from paycheck to paycheck, until she tried to make me start saving money and dreaming bigger. As time passed, the happiness in our life slowly disappeared. There were a few things, and I'll not blame her alone. On the outside, we had a happy life, doing what we could with what we had. I worked for her happiness, to buy her things that we could not afford. And at first, she was happy about this. This was until she starts to call me a cheap, and complained about how everyone laughed at her and she could not go out with her friends anymore, because she looked homeless. As I said, I did not like arguments. This ate me up for a long time, and I felt that maybe I was not enough for her. It did not help that she was helping each other with my parents to try to make me sell my soul for an office job that I hated, just so I could make a tiny bit more money. I tried to do that for a while, all of 2 months, thinking that finally she was going to be happy with me. But guys, that backfired terribly. She complained that I was not spending enough time with her and that my being busy was work all day was why she could not have a child. But at the end of the month, I gave her my entire paycheck that she used to buy takeaways and these big hats that filled their entire house. It was some sort of fashion trend among her and her church friends. Do not even get me started on the nagging. I could never do anything right in her eyes, even though I did everything I could for her. I was apparently not spending enough time with her, or I was smothering her too much. So 2 months after I got a better paying job, I came home to find her sleeping. The house was not clean, the dishes were still in the sink, and she had not bought any groceries. She didn't speak to me for days, and for those days I slept on the couch. I tried to tell my mom what was happening, and she said she would speak to her. There was a family meeting that happened where she said that I did not have time for her, and for us to start our own little family. I said nothing to defend myself. I've never been able to speak. After that, I went back to my job that I enjoyed, even though there was a pay cut. And seemingly, she was very happy that we had more time together. Our marriage seemed perfect and happy on the outside, filled with happy moments that were always clouded by her. My friends used to tell me that my wife was ungrateful and she was controlling me, that she was abusive. But what did I say about that? I did not think that it was abuse at all. I thought this was a normal, healthy relationship. Growing up, my mom would nag me and my dad all day long, and spend his money, and he would tolerate her, spend the night at a friend's, and drink a lot. I'm not a drinker or a smoker, and I could never think to shout at her or make her scared. Did that make me a bad man? For all 2 years I've lived in this marriage with her, the only way to keep the peace being that I had just to give her what she wanted. But there was signs that something else was going on, especially on the holidays. I'll get to that though. I just need to know, am I right to be suspicious of her, or is that going too far? What's up guys, Mr. Marital here. So this story is about to get insane. First of all, OP did not post for a while after that initial first part, but then I found some other posts by OP, and let me just say, the next update is called, "She Hates My Brother's Girlfriend." Here it is. Every year, my wife and I travel down for Thanksgiving, along with my younger brother Ethan. Ethan is the exact opposite of me. Very successful, less boring, and unmarried. He's a playboy. He did not bow down to the pressure that I had. He had been dating his girl for 2 years, which is the longest he's dated a woman. For some reason, my wife hates his girlfriend, telling me to tell my brother to break up with her. It's none of my business, so every time she brings the matter up, I just ignore her. My brother's girlfriend was a pretty cool person who I'm friends with. About a year after they started dating, she told me how she had concerns that her boyfriend was cheating on her. My brother was way too loyal to her, but she told me she did not like the way Lucy was close to my brother. So from the time on, I kept an eye on them. I could not just come up and accuse her of anything. It would not end well for me. At this point, she was controlling me and I had no idea. Everyone told me that I did not deserve to be treated like this, but I defended her against all those people. I covered for her, literally, with my parents when she did not show up for dinners. Then, when I got home and asked, she would tell me that I did not care. If anything, most people at church or who did not know us thought our marriage was strong. Most people who got married around the same time as us were wealthier and divorced. We sold the idea that our simple life was paradise. Well, I did cover for her. I could have done anything for her. As the years went on, people started to notice her close friendship with my brother. Even my mother's sister noticed and told me to be careful. There had been a time when he spilled something on his shirt, and she was the first one to hop up and go help him out. But the way the exchange came off and how comfortable she was unbuttoning his shirt killed me on the inside. It was small things like that. Her having more interest in hanging out with him. Me catching her speaking about him to friends. Pretending like nothing's going on. I never asked. I just watched. Next update, the gift. There was a time Miranda, my brother's girlfriend, called me, telling me that she found something big. Something that it could have proven to something was going on with him. This was what led to one of the biggest fights in my marriage. After that fight, I refused to attend my brother's birthday. My sister-in-law showed me the note and spa gift cards that she found from my wife. These were dated months prior and he had them hidden. She'd confronted him and he said he'd never used them. She said she knew it had to be my wife because she was the one who frequented that spa. So, I decided to follow the paper trail. I had every right to know if my wife was up to no good with my own brother. This did not make sense. A couple massage for your brother-in-law? Why did I not know about this? She did use my card to buy those gifts anyways, and she did send a very suspicious note with it. It went something like this. Something for you to ease those strong muscles. Trust me, I did not like the sound of my wife referring to my brother in that way. It sickened me to think of her getting something so inappropriate as a gift months before his birthday. She said it was a gift, but how am I to know it wasn't something more? Well, guys, this happened over 2 weeks ago, and maybe this is why I need some help to figure out what's going on, and if I'm not losing my mind. I confronted her on this, and she told me that I'm insecure. Yeah, she said I'm insecure. How can I feel I'm insecure if she does not look at me anymore, does not care for me anymore? I told her I did not appreciate what she did, and that it's her brother-in-law who was committed relationship. She says she's committed to me, then fine, but my brother-in-law's girlfriend's hurt by her action. Lucy does not see anything wrong in what she's doing. I talked to my brother about it, and he says that she bought it for us, but I was working on the day she gifted it to him. Those are two different stories, and they're just not making sense. Now, she's at his birthday party, knowing that I'm not happy about this. His girlfriend texted me, telling me that my Lent liquor is getting on her nerves, and I should come fetch her. What even is the point? Lucy will say that she's being friendly with him, and for context, they call her Lent liquor because of her detergent that she's been using ever since I met her. She's not changed, and brags about it over the years, how her clothing never has any lint. I know some people think it's an insult, but it's a more endearing term, and she doesn't mind it. She's coming back home tomorrow, and I don't know what to say. She swears that I'm blowing this out of proportion. Next update, guys, let this not be true. As I'm writing this right now, I'm very convinced that she has a crush on him, even after all she said to me. After the incident, she has made it her life's mission to be nice to me and act like a proper wife. She's open to me about where she is at all times. She does not go to my parents' house without me. This has started to make me question if I'm being paranoid like everyone says I am. I do not want it to turn into my parents' marriage. I want us to finally have our own child. Maybe that'll fix all the problems that we have. I don't know. I talked about how she went to my brother's birthday. I was not on speaking terms with any of them, right? Well, I've just seen pictures that no one showed me of that night. I was told that it was just a dinner at my parents' house, but what I'm seeing here is my wife, dressed in a short dress, wearing heavy makeup, and leaning against my brother. Now, I remember how she was sick the next morning, the telltale signs of a hangover. It's either something's happening here, or I'm mad, insane. Also, conveniently, I cannot get a hold of my brother's girlfriend. I cannot ask him what's going on. Maybe they finally broken up, but if it's her, because of her, I do not know what to do. Let this not be true. I do not know how far this goes, how deep and dark this tunnel is. I want to know what's going on in her mind, what deep, dark secret she's hiding from me. She thinks that I'm jealous of my brother's success. Why would I not be? He's a much younger guy who makes triple what I make. He always has been better looking, and he has a much bigger house. He'd be able to give her the luxurious life she craves that I cannot. She's complained over and over again that I'm just not enough. I don't know what to do. I'll admit this to you right now, maybe because you don't know me. I feel that my heart's on the verge of breaking. I feel so small next to him. He doesn't know the power he has to take away my happiness. I know I complain a lot, but I love lint-licking Lucy. She's difficult, but she's my difficult lint licker. I cannot imagine him and her. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. What do you think I can do to fix this? So, it looks like some suspicion is raised about lint-licking Lucy. Maybe she's not as good of a person as we first thought. Guys, let me know your exact feelings after part 1. Tell me in the comment section, what do you think's going to happen in part 2? And do you have any suspicion about Ethan? Drop your comments, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay by, because shortly, part 2 is coming out, and I can't wait. If you guys did enjoy this, just drop a little bit of support by subscribing to the channel and going ahead and checking out my Instagram channel, which announces updates of all the upcoming videos. You can find all those links in the description below. I'll see you guys in part 2.